Hello and welcome to Bruno Latour in 12 Easy Pieces. Many of you, I'm sure, know me as a French philosopher, anthropologist, and sociologist who has become particularly famous for his work in science and technology studies. My best known contributions to the fields include Laboratory Life, a book I published in 1979 together with Steve Woolgar, the textbook Science in Action, How to Follow Scientists and Engineers Through Society from 1987, and the popular essay We Have Never Been Modern from 1993. My academic career was rather straightforward. After studying philosophy, I taught at the Center for the Sociology of Innovation at the École des Mines in Paris from 1982 to 2006. During this time, I developed the so-called actor network theory with Michel Callan, Madeleine Akridge, John Law, and other colleagues of mine. From 2006 until my retirement in 2017, I was a professor at the Paris Institute of Political Studies, where I became increasingly interested in the question of ecology. But I will tell you more about this later on. What exactly are we going to do in this series of 12 easy pieces? Well, I try to introduce you to my work, present the most important publication, and clarify the basic concepts and ideas that I've developed. My ambition is to do this in a language accessible to beginners and non-academics, and from a point of view that offers not just the, how should I put this, standard perspective, but always has something surprising or amusing to offer. Let's start today with a brief look at my background and the beginnings of my career. Many people find it remarkable that I'm coming from a long established family of wine growers, but uh, beware. We are not talking here about the famous Chateau Latour wine estate, which is located near Bordeaux and is really important. My family owns the Maison Louis Latour, which is also very old. It was founded in 1797, but it is significantly smaller and not located near Bordeaux, unfortunately, on the Atlantic, but in the east of France, in the town of Beaune, near Dijon, where the famous mustard is produced. My family ties to this winery is, of course, a super cliche, especially for those who are not from France themselves. Some colleagues have even tried to link the kind of sociology I've developed with my wine growing background. For example, they suggested that my notion of immutable mobiles, referring to tools and technologies serving to disseminate scientific knowledge worldwide, was inspired by the model of the glass bottle, which is used to transport wine all over the world. I will comment on this in more detail in easy piece number 6. But that's not really important.
Oh, and I thought we had something in common.
Uh, be that as it may, much more important is the impact of Catholic religion. I was raised as a Catholic, and in the early 1960s, I attended a Jesuit high school in Paris. And when I started studying philosophy in Dijon shortly later, I worked primarily with a former priest named André Mallet. Of course, hardly anyone knows Mallet today, but for me, studying with him was quite crucial, perhaps even a revelation, because he taught me a method that I have returned to again and again, namely that of biblical exegesis. Together with Mallet, I was particularly interested in one of the pioneers of contemporary biblical exegesis, the German theologian Rudolf Bultmann, who incidentally was good friends with philosopher Martin Heidegger, which also sparked my interest. As we will see next time, this led me to write an entire doctoral dissertation on the relationship between exegesis and ontology. This doctoral thesis was not published during my lifetime, however, but it really laid the decisive foundations for my later engagement with science and technology. That may seem a little strange to you, huh? A Catholic philosopher who comes from a family of wine growers and is interested in the natural sciences. Huh? But other theologians have had similar interest. I remind you, for example, of Pierre Della de Chardin, who visited the particle accelerator in Berkeley in the late 1960s to see how physicists were changing our understanding of the creation. Aren't the scientific laboratories of today also something like churches that produce faith in a certain kind of truth, namely scientific truth? Oh, I recommend you keep these theological questions in mind while learning more about my contributions to science and technology studies. Well, that was the first easy piece. Thanks for watching and looking forward to seeing you again soon.